Sauron has regained much of his former strength. He cannot yet take physical form, but his spirit has lost none of its potency.
You know of what I speak, Gandalf. A great eye, lidless, wreathed in flame.
This is a lie. The eye, wreathed in flame, that is the actual form of Sauron. It's not in the book. Well, let me backtrack that a little bit. It is, but this is the emblem of Sauron. And in the book it mentions his eye a few times, but it's more like anthropomorphized language. And he does have good branding with this because the red eye wreathed in flame is what the icon or the emblem of Mordor is. It's the equivalent to what movie watchers probably know better as the white hand of Saruman. So, you know, Rohan has their flag with the horse, Gondor has their tree, Saruman has his white hand, and Sauron his eye wreathed in flame. But Sauron is not existing in the form of this great eye wreathed atop the flaming tower of Barad-dûr. I might have mispronounced that. Sauron is real, most likely someone who actually has form, who is living in Middle-earth currently. And although we never see him, the reason why most fans believe that he actually has corporeal form is because of one line that Gollum says in the book. And a few other things that Tolkien wrote and has extra notes on. Now, I do have to admit, I'm not a Tolkien expert. What I am is someone who is reading this for the first time in my entire life. And I'm just publishing thoughts as I go on my channel as a first-time reader. I love the movie, but reading the book is quickly making me realize how the movies just missed the mark on so many incredible things in this book. Gollum is totally different. Frodo is a significantly stronger character. No elves show up at Helm's Deep, and don't even get me started on what they did to my favorite character, Gimli. And this little eye that we see in the movies is not how the book really depicts Sauron. The eye in the book feels much more like a metaphor, in that Sauron is just always looking and has his eye on the world. But the movies never really show any of his real form, except in the beginning when he starts tossing the men and the elves everywhere and hits them with his mace. And there's this very scene
that Isildur, son of the king, took up his father's sword.
And he never cut off all his fingers. He only cuts off one, because the line of Gollum directly relates to that. And the line that Gollum says directly relates to him knowing this. But just quickly, subscribe if you'd be into this sort of content, which is watching my first time read through some of the greatest works of literature ever written. I do a lot of Brandon Sanderson, some Harry Potter, some Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to get to Narnia, Dune, and some Game of Thrones. So it's like pop and sci-fi and fantasy, all that kind of stuff mixed in. And I'm just going to get to some other classics too as I get there. But let me set the scene for you in the book for what is actually happening at this line. So the trio of Sam, Frodo, and Gollum all come to the Black Gate, and Smeagol stops them from going in. Then, as they are walking away and they begin to talk about Mordor and the things long ago, this is what the book says. Tales out of the south, Gollum went on again, about the tall men with the shining eyes, and their houses like hills of stone, and the silver crown of their king and his white tree. Wonderful tales. They built very tall towers, and one they raised was silver white, and in it there was a stone like the moon, and round it were great white walls. Oh yes, there were many tales about the Tower of the Moon. That would be Minas Ithil, that Isildur the son of Elendil built, said Frodo. It was Isildur who cut off the fingers of the enemy. Yes, he has only 4 on the Black Hand, but they are enough, said Gollum, shuddering. And he hated Isildur city. That's the line that Smeagol has. And you might be looking at me like I'm a little crazy. And when I read this for the first time, I honestly breezed right by it. I even read it again later that day and breezed right by it again. It wasn't until I posted a video about my reading that someone commented and asked if I saw that specific line. And I didn't. But I think this is also so fascinating and so cool of a point that I had to write a little essay about it, and I had to talk about this on the channel. So thank you for that comment too. I love not getting spoilers, and you guys have been incredible so far with your comments. So please keep letting me know little tidbits that I miss. I love people picking up on things that I may have missed on my read. It makes it so much more fun. So again, thank you for all your comments. And again, you kind of might think that I'm crazy in looking at this line and saying it doesn't really prove anything, but let me break it down for you a bit. And then give you a few things that I found in some very light research, because I really want to stay away from spoilers, so I'm not doing a ton of research with these essays. It's more so just like my first time reaction to certain things and just my thoughts on it. But Smeagol saying the first part of the sentence made me think he was just talking about legend. That legend has it that he only has 4 on his black hand. And because I thought he was speaking from legend and from myth, that last little bit that Gollum throws in there, to me, I think it more so shows that Gollum has actually had experience with this, especially with him shuddering. That when he was tortured in the dungeons of Mordor, he saw that black hand with his own eyes, because he does say, but they are enough. As if he knows that they are enough from experiencing that they are enough with his torture. I think just that line from his alone shows that he actually has form. And again, even with the shuddering of Gollum, it shows that he's experienced this hand. I think that's my reading of this right now. But let me show you from a few other things that Tolkien wrote that I found under a Reddit comment that asked the same exact question that I'm bringing up right here. And for the Tolkien experts in this chat, if I am wrong about these ones, let me know, please. So in the letters of J.R.R. Tolkien, in letter 246, Tolkien states, Sauron should be thought of as very terrible. The form that he took was that of a man of more than human stature, but not gigantic. I mean, he is taking form right there. He's not just some eye wreathed in flame. And in another comment, someone actually mentioned the reason why Tolkien doesn't mention this much in Lord of the Rings is because he is a good writer. Well, that's my take on this Reddit comment, but I just want to give 2 real reasons why I actually think this is such good writing. And the first is because we are in the perspective of these characters. And this is what the Reddit comment was going on and saying. That we have everyone that we've met in the Fellowship of the Ring, we've only been in a few people's perspective. Mainly we're in Frodo's, and it's different people who talk to Frodo about certain things, but we're in Pippin's perspective, Frodo's, Sam's, Aragorn's, and a few others. And none of those characters have ever met him face to face in Sauron's form. So it's just a bit of good writing that we stay in the perspective of Frodo, and the things that Frodo learns from other people on his journey. And we don't deviate from that. Because if we all of a sudden came out of the story and got details and descriptions on what Sauron actually was up to or what he looked like, then I think it would take us totally out of the story and it would be a lot less tense. And that is the second reason that I think this is genius. And it's something that I think Tolkien is excellent at, that a lot of creators and a lot of people who are novelists and movie makers and whatever it is have stolen from him, which he might have stolen from someone else, but he is great at creating tension. Think of the classic example of this in film, Jaws. It's one of the best. According to the stories of Jaws, they filmed tons of scenes with this shark, that's animatronic shark, but they had to reshoot a lot. And the animatronic shark had failed and it didn't work anymore. So rather than fix it, they just had to make do. And it was at that point that Steven Spielberg realized that without showing the shark in the movie, it created significantly more tension. And so this is the same thing with Lord of the Rings. Up to this point, we've heard that Sauron's eye is ever watchful, and his hand stretches far. And it's all been anthropomorphic language. And I think that Peter Jackson took a concept that was anthropomorphic and made it a reality, which could be a smart thing to do and a cool thing to do. And weirdly, I think it almost worked in the movie, but it also doesn't because the movies are significantly less tense. There's actually barely any tension compared with the book. So if you haven't read the book and you want some tension in a book about this story, please read it, because every page I am holding my breath in this book. Every single page that I turn, because you never see the enemies ever. It's terrifying. And for us as readers to not know the form or shape of anything really of Sauron specifically, and then all of a sudden to know that he has one hand with 4 fingers because the other one was cut off, and that Gollum knows this because he himself saw the hand, just is so scary, and it's such good writing. It honestly just makes me wonder what he was up to in Mordor this whole time. Was he just going for walks? Was he managing his soldiers? Certainly the ring wraiths all kind of had to see him or be in his presence at some point. I think it just opens up a can of worms, and it absolutely blows my mind that the movies are a lie when they show the eye wreathed in flame atop the tower. Ugh. I could be totally wrong about this too, as it is my very first time reading, so let me know in the comments below where I may have erred. Please make sure you subscribe if you like more of this content. You can also become a member. You can like the video too, and I will see you in the next one.